You guys have a great time listening to all the answers tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I want to welcome you all again to our kindergarten parent webinar. I am Erin Taggart. I'm the Director of Elementary Education. And this evening, I would like to introduce some of our other panelists to you. We have Dr. Jerry Block, our Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. You met Jake Finch earlier. We have Ms. Camacho and Ms. Herrera, who will be joining us this evening, as well as Jennifer Conmay, who is the principal of Wood Ranch, and Aldo Calcano, who is the principal of Arroyo Elementary. This evening, they will be providing you with some information. They're also here to answer any questions you may have throughout that chat time. If we see a question that is repeated, we will answer it live. Our hope is that we will be able to answer all of your questions as we go through this evening's presentation. And then, as Jake said, it will be posted on our website, and there is always more information on our website as well. So as I said, this is the agenda of our evening. At the end, again, we will take those questions from the chat, and they will either be answered through that chat, or we will refer back to some of them at the end of the evening. Okay. At this time, I would like to welcome you to Simi Schools, and by doing that, I would like to show you a little bit about Simi Schools. So I'm going to hand it over to Jake for her to share our video.
Okay. I'm working on it. I apologize. Okay, Erin, is that coming up?
Yes.
At the Simi Valley Unified School District, we like to say, from here to anywhere. But it's more than just a catchy phrase. It's a pledge to support students with college, career, and life. It's a pledge that starts on day one and carries through at every stage and on every stage of our students' journey with us. It's a pledge that commits us to feeding our students' curiosity in the classroom and to finding healthy ways to fuel their explorations. A pledge to give our students the tech they need to get ahead and to give our teachers cutting-edge tools to stay ahead. Our pledge is also a promise to prepare students to take the next big step in their educational journey and to take the smaller daily steps in their journey through life. And it's a pledge to include all students in the journey, no matter how far along they are. Finally, the pledge our staff makes is also made by you. Because to feel connected to their schools, students need to feel connected to their community too. All of us in the Simi Valley Unified School District pledge to support all students in becoming the best potential version of themselves so that they can go from here to anywhere.
Ready to go?
Thank you, Jake. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Block.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to start by thanking you for being here with us. I am certain that all of you are incredibly busy, and the fact that you're here just speaks volumes to how important this decision about kindergarten is. We don't take lightly that your children are your most precious gifts, and we take our responsibility to our students so incredibly seriously. I think our kindergarten program is absolutely phenomenal. Not only is it rigorous and students will learn all the things that they need to learn in kindergarten, but that we look at every single child and their needs and how we can support them. It is we take our responsibility to the kids incredibly seriously. And so, as I said, we have rigorous academic programs, and we hope that those programs, we know that those programs are relevant to what they need to learn in their futures. We have high expectations for all of our students, and we respect the differences that they come to us with. We really pride ourselves in providing an innovative learning environment, one where students can learn through hands-on experiential learning. We know that when students are engaged in something that is meaningful and important to them, they're going to learn it much better. So how can we connect with their learning to their own personal interests? We provide our students with opportunities to build confidence in themselves by teaching strong character traits. And we know that we can't do any of this without a partnership with you, the parents. It really does take a team to educate kids, and we so look forward to working with you in the years to come to support your kids grow and to thrive. And so again, thank you for being with us tonight, and look forward to getting to know you. A little bit more about us, some statistics about our school district. You can see that we're right around 16,000 students. We are a fairly diverse community with 43% of our students Latino, and 60% of our population are minorities, 41% free and reduced lunch. I actually think that's a little bit higher now. And this year, really excited, we actually have 620 universal transition kindergarten students. So that has been a phenomenal addition to our district. And about 14% of our students are in special education. But again, we look at every single child as a unique individual with unique needs. And we look forward to meeting them where they are and helping them grow. So when we say in our district are from here to anywhere, it really is more than a motto for us. It is something we truly believe in our heart of hearts that, we hope students can and will grow and have an opportunity to go wherever life takes them.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Block. The question always of the hour is who is eligible for kindergarten, and just to confirm those dates. So if your child has a birth date on or before September 1st, so if your child will turn 5 on or before September 1st, then they are eligible for kindergarten. Those are those are guidelines that are put forward, and we do follow the recommendations of the state. So it is on or before September 1st of 2019. That will be for our 24-25 school year. On this document, you also see a couple other categories. On the far right, you see our transitional kindergarten program. We did have our TK webinar on Monday. If that is something you are interested in knowing about and weren't able to join us, it will be posted on our website as well. Our TK program, ahead of the state eligibility, in Simi Unified, we opened the window to all students who would be 4 within that window. And so we have a very large eligibility window, which is how, as Dr. Block mentioned, we've had about 620 TK students this year. It has been a wonderful program, and it feeds right into our kindergarten program. That transitional kindergarten is year 1, and then kindergarten is year 2. We also have some students that fall into a window in which it does become the parent choice. Previously, years and years ago, when our Simi Unified first started the TK program, this was known as our junior kindergarten. Since the state has opened the eligibility for TK, we do have students that are eligible for TK, but we also have students that are eligible for kindergarten that fall in the same window. If your child has a birth date within that window and has not previously attended kindergarten, then it would be a parent choice. We do have a deferred enrollment process. If your child is scheduled to start kindergarten and you would like to defer that enrollment for a year and instead start in TK, you do have the ability to apply for that and to give information and background. Again, you have to be within that window and you cannot have previously attended a TK. TK in our district is very play-based. It's to enrich, it's to build the foundation of learning. And then again, the second year would be a traditional kindergarten program. So for us tonight, your child would be 5 on or before September 1st. And then that would be the information that we would be sharing tonight is for eligibility of kindergarten. So what we are going to do now is we're going to talk about what is kindergarten. What does that kindergarten look like? What does that day look like? What is it that is covered in our kindergarten program? So our kindergarten program is a full day of kindergarten. It's offered at 18 of our elementary schools throughout Simi Valley. It is also offered at Monte Vista, which is our independent study school. Every kindergarten class offers the same curriculum. They are based on the California state standards. So all the curriculum across the district is the same, and all teachers are provided with those same materials across kindergarten. Now in kindergarten, we are a district of choice. So you always have rights to your neighborhood school. Now your neighborhood school means the school that falls within your boundary map. If you are not sure what that boundary is, you can look on our website under boundary maps and it will show you elementary boundary maps. If you type in your address, it will pinpoint where your address is and it will tell you what your neighborhood school is. This is the school that you have rights to as you are enrolling in school. However, as a school of choice district, we do offer the option to attend a different elementary school outside of your neighborhood school. And this is offered at any of our grade levels. For kindergarten, it is an online application for most of our schools. We are in the future slides, we are going to talk about Vista, Hollow Hills, and Arroyo Elementary. But for our other 15 elementary schools, there is a school of choice process. So if you live in one boundary and you would like to go to kindergarten in a different boundary, then you would need to fill out the school of choice application. This is found online on our website. If you search school of choice, it will take you to the application in which you can fill it out. We are looking to complete those applications by February 9th. The window will still remain open, but we cannot guarantee placement. So your best bet to attend a school of choice is to fill out that application. But please remember that is based on space. So just because an application is filled out does not mean that necessarily you will be granted that seat at a school of choice because it is based on staffing and space available. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Conmay, again, the principal at Wood Ranch, who's going to share with you some information about what that day of a kindergartner looks like.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm happy to have you all here. Like it was stated before, kindergarten is a really exciting time for students and for their families. It is our district's goal to create learning environments that facilitate the joy and love for learning for all of our students. We do that by focusing on the whole child and fostering a child-centered learning environment that promotes not only the academic development, but also social, emotional, and physical growth for all of our students. We know that children learn best through hands-on interactive experiences. So we use a center-based approach to instruction in our kindergarten program. A center-based approach involves organizing the learning environment in different stations or centers, which focus on specific skills or areas of development. So our centers provide opportunities for children to explore, to play in a more self-directed manner, which fosters that independence and that love for learning that we are striving for all of our students to have. Some of the centers that you will see in a kindergarten classroom literacy center, which focus on literacy skills. You'll see students reading, learning letter sounds, letter identification, sight words. They'll be writing, storytelling. So just a wide variety of literacy skills. Math centers, which they'll be developing their mathematical concepts. You'll see patterning, problem solving, basic arithmetic, counting. We have science centers in our classrooms where students are engaged in observations and experiments and learning about scientific inquiry. We have art centers where students are engaged in expressing themselves creatively through either painting or drawing or different crafts. The dramatic play centers are always very exciting in a kindergarten classroom, a lot of imaginative play, role playing, where they build those social interactions and language and social skills. Also, a lot of building and creating type centers where kids are engaged cooperatively with one another, learning about spatial and motor skills, again, expressing their imagination and problem solving skills. So those are just a few examples of some things that you would see in a kindergarten classroom. One of the great things about a center's approach is that students get to rotate through the different activities. So each and every day, students are involved in a wide variety of learning opportunities, which makes the learning environment more engaging and more fun for our kindergartners. Also, we love our parent volunteers. And so many kindergarten teachers will encourage parents to come during this time of the day to help, to facilitate the learning during these times. So we encourage you when you get up and going in your schools to reach out to your teachers and find out how you can help in the classroom, because centers time is a great time that a lot of teachers love to have that parent support. We also have technology in all of our classrooms. So our kindergarten rooms have devices. Every student has a device. They stay in the classroom. It's used different from class to class, but kids maybe are doing different learning opportunities, different applications and things that may align with some of our academic areas. Also, we have interactive whiteboards that teachers use, just makes the learning more engaging. Probably when I went to school, we had a chalkboard and it was fun to go ahead and write on the chalkboard. But now our kids get to come up and you can see in the picture down there, they're very interactive with the learning that's happening on the whiteboards, and kids love to do that. So our teachers are trained on how to use the technology in an effective way. We do know the importance of hands-on learning in the kindergarten program. So there is a balance of that. And so we do make sure that there's a lot of hands-on exploration and engagement in our kindergarten rooms, but they do also have opportunities to learn through technology. So we're really excited to have you all join our district. Our kindergarten programs are amazing. And so we welcome you.
Thank you, Ms. Conway. All right, at this time, we're going to move a little bit into the enrollment process. We did talk a little bit about the difference between a neighborhood school and our school of choice, but we're going to go into a little bit more specifics as we go through this, and that you'll see at the end. There is a elementary education desk, which Ms. Loniero is happy to answer your questions. So as we go through this, if you don't find the information on the website, we don't cover it here, or you think of additional questions, please always feel free to reach out to us. We will give you that contact information as well. Or if there's any unique questions you might have as we go through this process. So looking at our enrollment steps, the first one, as we talked about, is really deciding what is best for your child. Ultimately, our goal is to have a school that you and your child thrive in, as Ms. Conway said, volunteering, being part of the school, being part of the community, and really enjoying this elementary education experience. On our website, there is a guide to Simi Valley schools, which will give you a brief information about each of those schools. During the month of January, there are school tours that will be offered. For elementary schools, this is Tuesdays at 9 a.m. So each of the schools will be offering those tours. You can also visit their websites, and that will provide you with some more information. There are opportunities, whether it's later in the afternoon or the evening, Some of them will be a tour format, some of them will be more of a meeting format. But these are wonderful opportunities for you to get to know the school. And so these are the opportunities that you can have to kind of check out which is the best school for my child. Obviously, there are pros and cons in terms of what you have for your family, daycare, transportation. Any of those things might come in way into the factor, but we encourage you to visit them, starting with your homeschool and then other schools that you may be interested in. As we stated, your neighborhood school can be found on your boundary map if you're not sure. When we talk about our school of choice window, we've talked about that ending on February 9th. Our homeschool window or eligibility and enrollment opens in February 12th. So at that day, if you know that you are going to your homeschool, you can go to the school office and request a kindergarten enrollment packet. There's no deadline, but it does help us with staffing for you to enroll earlier rather than later. We do base it on the number of enrollments we have, and so that's always helpful for our principals and our sites to know as early as possible. Again, all the kindergarten enrollment happens at a school site. So you would be going to that home school site to pick up the enrollment packet. For those students, if there is anybody on here who is currently enrolled in a TK in our district, you are automatically at that school and will roll into kindergarten. If that is not your homeschool and you wish to then attend kindergarten at your homeschool, you are more than welcome to go to the school office and let them know that you'll be returning to your homeschool. You also are able to apply for school of choice at another school. But if you are currently in a TK program in our Simi Unified, you are already at that school and you are able to return to that school for kindergarten. Again, we covered this a little bit. Our school of choice application allows for any family to apply to an open seat. Again, it is based on availability. When you fill out the school of choice application, you will be asked to pick your top 3 schools, and this order does matter. The first priority, the second priority, and the third priority. Those priorities will be given to the schools, and they will call based on their availability. That will vary from site to site and what their numbers are, but it does vary from site to site. What we're going to talk about next is also our fundamental schools, and we're going to talk about our dual immersion schools. They do have a little bit of a different timeline, and so we'll go into those as we get into those slides. But again, our school of choice application is open to those other 15 elementary schools, and it is found online on our website. Again, the February 9th date is that priority placement. However, it still will remain open, but we cannot guarantee as the days progress. If you're in the middle of summer, obviously the availability will look different than if we know in February your school of choice application. Vista and Hollow Hills are our 2 fundamental schools. They are not considered neighborhood schools, and they are not on the school of choice application. There is a kindergarten lottery process in order to be eligible to enroll. The fundamental schools do have the same state standards. They do have the same curriculum. What is unique to them is the focus areas in which they have on their campuses. Some families choose to enroll their students on these campuses based on those focus areas and programs, and the expectations put forth that they could share with you at one of their information meetings. There is a commitment in terms of transportation on the parent to provide to those schools, whereas a neighborhood school may bring the community within that neighborhood. The fundamental schools has the commitment to those program areas and the focus areas with students from across the district. As I said, both of them teach the same state standards and the same curriculum as the remaining elementary schools. For our Vista and Hollow Hills kindergarten lottery, again, this is only for kindergarten. Our kindergarten lottery applications are accepted January 8th through January 19th. This is a form in which you need to go to that office to pick up. So it is not an online application like I was sharing with our school of choice application. This is an application that you would either choose to go to Vista or to Hollow Hills, not both, and fill out an application there. On February 22nd, then there will be a drawing for the space remaining. So if there was 50 spaces and there was 62 interest, then they would pull all of the names and the first 50 spots would be given a access because that's the available spacing, and then the rest would be put on a waiting list. You would be notified that week of January 22nd. Vista and Hollow Hills will offer information nights and tours, just like our other elementary schools. So if that is something that you are interested in, you can visit one of their schools for the tours and or the parent information night. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Jacobson and Mr. Calcagno to talk about our Dual Language Academy at Arroyo Elementary.
Hi, my name is April Jacobson. I am the Assistant Director of Early and Expanded Learning, and I am overseeing the implementation of a dual language immersion program at Arroyo Elementary School, and Aldo Calcagno will be the principal at that school as we open it up next year. So we will open our first dual language immersion program at Arroyo next fall. It will open with kindergarten and TK students. The other students, first through fifth, will continue with their regular programming. So first of all, to explain a little bit of what a two-way dual immersion program is. In essence, it's a bilingual program, but that idea of two-way means that both languages, English and in this case Spanish, have equal value and equal importance in the instructional day. The idea and the whole purpose is that students are bilingual and biliterate, that they have the same high academic level as their monolingual peers, and also that they are socioculturally aware that in the world there are many people who speak different languages, have different cultures, and live in a different way than we may here in Simi Valley. Okay, so the three pillars of bilingual education, I mentioned them a little bit, but I'll talk about them a little bit more in depth. First of all, there's that idea of bilingual and biliterate. So bilingual refers to speaking and listening, but biliterate really looks at those other language skills, which are to read and write. We want students to have strength in both languages at a very high educational level, meaning that not only are they bilingual, they are also biliterate. They can read, write, speak, and listen effectively in both languages. We want them to do this as they also achieve high academic standards in all subject matter. So it's a program that's additive. We're adding a second language without taking away from high expectations in all context of their education. And finally, that third pillar looks at sociocultural competence. Part of this, as we move into more of a global world, is really understanding the role of culture, the role of language, and helping them to kind of open their mind to a larger world and to be able to move in that world easily and effectively. So the model we're using is called an 80-20 model. What that means is that in the first years in TK, K, and first, 80% of the instructional day is in Spanish and 20% is in English. The reason for that is because in the community, English is the stronger language. So we really want to lay a strong foundation for Spanish, so that then as they move up, they have that stronger language or that stronger foundation in both languages. Then as they get into second grade, it becomes 70-30, 60-40 in third, and then by fourth and fifth grade, it will be 50-50. The plan of the district is to continue the program into middle and high school. But right now we're focusing on elementary school, so this will be the language allocation.
Great. And Mr. Calcagno, do you want to share with them just about if they're interested in terms of your school or contact?
So, as was mentioned earlier, we have had 2 tours already for the TK population to come through. If you are interested in coming to see what it could look like, please reach out to my school office at Arroyo, and I will set up a tour for you. If we're able to do it by group, we will send out an email to all the people interested and try to set up a time when everyone can come join us. We currently have a program called Flags in Place, which stands for Foreign Languages, Academics, and Global Studies. And part of that program we started 6 years ago was to introduce conversational Spanish to the children in school from TK through currently 6th grade. That has now will be our basis for moving into our dual language program coming up next year.
One quick thing I would like to add is that our timeline is now. So if you are interested in the program, you do see that QR code. That will take you to the district webpage for dual immersion, or you can simply go to the Simi Valley Unified District webpage and search for dual immersion. There's an interest form that needs to be filled out within the next week or so, because from there we will do a language assessment in January. And then we will start to create classes by that first week of February. So you will still have a chance to enter into other school of choice if you do not enter into this program. So please, if you are interested, you can give me a call or email me. You can fill out the interest form and we will contact you as well. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you both. As we talked about, you have many different options in terms of the school, but for our enrollments, that is all the same requirements for any of our schools that you may be applying to. For kindergarten, we do need a copy of the birth certificate, a proof of residency, and you can see some of the documentation there needed. It does need to be associated with the house. We need a copy of immunization records, and then there will be 2 other documents. The first is a report of health examination. This is a form that is part of our enrollment packet that would be taken to a pediatrician for them to complete. The requirement of this, though, is that it is no earlier than 6 months before the start of the first day of school. So next year, our first day of school is August 14th. And so that means that it can be no earlier than February 14th. So for those families that may be on here that are enrolled in TK currently within our Simi Unified, those birth certificates, proof of residencies, and immunizations have all been turned in for TK. However, there still will be the requirement for the health examination because that is determined by age, not enrollment in school. The other piece that is for kindergarten and not, oh, I skipped one. Here's our list of immunizations. So these are the immunizations that are required in order for a student to begin school. Please note that if at the time of enrollment you don't have all the documentation for them, your enrollment will still be accepted, but there is the responsibility to turn it into the school site before school starts. Without these immunizations, we cannot have a student start on the first day of school. So we do want that so that you have that first day of school experience and your student is able to start on that first day. The other piece, as I was mentioning, that is part of our kindergarten enrollment is oral health assessment. So this is an assessment that is done by the dentist. There are some other options on this form. And so this is also part of our enrollment packet that you will be able to take to their next appointment. This does have, again, different requirements based on entering kindergarten, not necessarily entering on the first day of their first enrollment in school. So again, this wouldn't apply to TK, this would just apply to our kindergarten. All right, At this time, I would like to turn it over to Jake Finch to share some other additional information about our schools.
Thank you. I've gotten a couple of questions already about before and after school care. We have 3 different organizations in town that handle the after school care at the schools. It depends which school would be which organization, but that would be Rancho Simi Parks and Rec District. We have the YMCA and we have the Boys and Girls Club of Moore Park and Simi. We have a slide coming next that'll show you which schools currently have which program. This could change, but in general, it pretty much stays static. You have on-site care at these schools. And I know that the Boys and Girls Club also does some busing to their clubhouse from other schools in the district where they're not based. But you're going to make arrangements for this care through those sites. We don't facilitate that. We provide them with the space and then they manage their programs. So what they charge is on their end. How they do the enrollment in the programs is on their end. This is a quick list here of the existing programs. ACES is a grant program for certain kids, but again, you would call out to the different organizations to get more information. I know that the YMCA has a big enrollment day where they start usually in April. I believe Boys and Girls Club starts it whenever you call. So again, you've just got to call and find out. Next slide. Okay, safety is always a big consideration. Your children's safety is our primary concern. If kids are not safe, they're not going to learn. Staff wants to be safe. We've done a lot of changes to our campuses in the last few years to make them even safer. Every school is a closed campus. I know that can be very frustrating for parents initially. The kids adjust to it pretty quickly, but it means that we can control who's coming onto campus and who isn't. And that's very important if we're going to keep everybody safe. By state law, kindergarten facilities, including transitional kindergarten, are separated from the rest of the campus. They have a separate play area. They generally have separate bathrooms. There may be an exception here and there, but they are kept, the little kids are kept together. In general, their lunches and the recesses are just with the littlest kids. They may be with first graders in some cases. It depends on the size of the school. Our schools have special camera and radio systems that were installed in the last 5 years, and these systems connect us to the Simi Valley Police Department. We work very closely with the police to keep everybody safe and contained in their campuses. They are excellent partners with us on our schools. Our schools got a new system for security in last year called Raptor. Raptor is a system that when you come to visit the campus for the first time, whether you're a parent, a staff person who's not usually at that school, or maybe you are a vendor or a delivery person, when you come to the campus, the front office is going to ask you for a legal form of identification. We're going to scan it and we're going to see if you pop up on any lists where you don't want to be popping up. If you are, then we have a process in place to handle that. But this is one way we have to make sure that everybody who's on campus should be on campus. And once you do it at the beginning of the year at a school site, you should not have to do it again at that school site. If you change and go to another school for some reason, you may have to do it again at that school. And there's going to be a lot of information given at each school during their back to school night or their orientation. So you can get more specific information about your campus that you're going to when school starts. And a lot of people ask about the school times. Everybody's time is a little bit different. It's staggered to allow for the special education busing that happens, but they all generally start around the same time, sometime between 7:30 and 8:15 in the morning, sometime between 2 and 2:30-ish in the afternoon. So all you need to do really is check your website for the school that you're going to be attending, and you'll see what the current times are. It may shift a little bit, but generally it stays pretty close or on target from year to year. So in 2016, you may have heard, or maybe not, if you're a resident of Simi Valley of the district, then we passed what's called Measure X. It's a bond that has been used and is being used to help improve our schools. One of the big things that we've done with this bond is every single classroom and learning space in every single school has been getting renovations. They've been getting new equipment, and they've been getting what we call flexible furniture. So as you know, as parents, our little ones are wiggly and jiggly and they like to move around. And there's an awful lot of data and studies out there that talk about how kids tend to learn better when they can get their wiggles out and they have a little bit of freedom. This type of seating and tables allows them to do that. The tables are set up so that you can write on them. You use whiteboard markers and they can be erased. And there's a lot of more interactive hands-on learning that physically happens with the kids as they're doing this. In general, the kids seem to love it. The schools are being done during the summertime when everybody's off, so it doesn't get in anybody's way. So we're probably close to 2/3 of the way through the district. That includes the secondary schools also. They have high tops, they have couches on some of the classrooms. The teachers work with the district office to pick the best assortment of furniture and arrangements for their kids. They all have the interactive boards. They've got the sound systems in the classrooms, which help all the kids hear better when a teacher is speaking. So there's a lot of fun things that are happening in those classrooms, and that's because of Measure X. So we always thank the community for doing that for us. There is a lot of information about our schools on simivalleyusd.org. We switched to a new website this year. I love what we've been doing with the website. Dr. Block is amazing with it. And anything that you've missed tonight, you probably can find there. And you can, of course, always reach out to us. You're going to have Brianna's name at the end of this. And I've already given my email out a couple of times to families that have chatted, in the question and answer.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. I did see a couple questions that I just wanted to address in case there is anybody else wondering the same thing. Currently, we do offer a TK program at Justin Early Learners Academy. And so when I said kiddos would roll over into the school they're attending, for Justin Elementary, that's not the case because they don't have a K-5 program there. What that means is if your child is a TK student at Jella Elementary or Jella Early Learner, excuse me, then you are able to enroll at your home school, or you are able to participate in any of the school of choice options we shared this evening. For those students at TK who are a Vista or Hollow Hills sibling, sibling enrollment is happening right now at Vista and Hollow Hills. So you would want to touch base with the office in order to enroll. And as you heard Ms. Jacobson say, for our DLI program, the interest is within this week. And so you would want to complete that interest form on our website. The other piece that was asked was about IEPs and students with IEPs. All of our students with IEPs are able to participate in that neighborhood school or that school of choice enrollment. The final placement will be determined by the IEP team. So you are able to apply for school of choice or your home school, and then your IEP team will have a meeting to determine the best placement based on free and appropriate education provided to your child. I see that the question's a little bit about school of choice. So as I mentioned, our school of choice applications will be, I'm not going to say finalized because we still will be accepting them, but the cutoff is February 9th. After that, then schools will evaluate their space. There are schools that will know their space right away in February, but that also means you have all the way until August for schools to really determine that space. So schools will start with those people who indicated first priority on their school of choice application. Then it will go to second priority, and then it will go to third priority. When you are offered a spot in that school of choice, you will have 5 days in order to decide that. So if you are called and they say we have a spot for you, would you like to accept this school of choice placement, then you have 5 days for you to decide if that's what you and your family would like to do. If not, then the school will move on to the next person. Or if you do, then they will have you fill out that enrollment process to confirm that you're intending to enroll at that school. Again, things are based on staffing and our space available. So again, some will be notifying in March, others won't know maybe until the summer if there were spaces to be opened up and available. So the question was about, again, about participating. You absolutely can. Again, it will be a tentative enrollment until it is your IEP placement determination.
Erin, we're getting a lot of questions about children with IEPs, current children. If you can explain that process, please.
We may have students that have IEPs participating in our preschool program or our TK programs. Again, those services are determined by an IEP team. We do have services at our elementary schools, but it does depend on the services that are best for your child. And that's really an IEP determination. Again, you can participate in school of choice and complete that application, but it will be tentative until the IEP determines that your child can be offered the appropriate free and appropriate placement and education that your child needs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Dr. Block jump in.
Yeah, if I could jump in, thank you. So parents, please remember that you are a part of the IEP team. You are one of the most important parts of the IEP team. So as your child goes from transitional kindergarten, and you have your annual IEPs, perhaps a transition IEP, please do speak with your child case manager and have that conversation with him or her, because that is part of the process. So it is the conversation between you and the school. And in that team meeting, all of you will decide together what is the best placement for your child.
Absolutely. Thank you for highlighting that. There are some questions about tours and information about schools. As I mentioned, every elementary school will be offering tours in January on Tuesdays, beginning January 16th, and then all the way through that first week of February. They will be offering tours at 9 a.m. But please feel free to contact the school. We will be getting some of that information on our websites. As Jake mentioned, our websites transition from one provider to another. And so we are working on getting that information on there, but you may always contact the school to see any additional times that they may be offering tours or to ask questions or get more information about the school. One of the questions, and I didn't cover this, so I want to make sure I do. Thank you for asking. If you apply to Vista or Hollow Hills or Arroyo, and you are not accepted based on either space or the lottery, then you still can apply on a school of choice application. Now, if you take your space, let's say at Arroyo, you will be removed from the school of choice list. Just like if you were to take a space at Vista, you would be removed from the school of choice list, but you are able to participate in both of those. Again, we will have this webinar posted on our district website. There will be more information, or the information that was shared regarding enrollment and those enrollment steps. If you were here and your child is also in that window eligible for TK, or looking at our birth date, you realize your child is eligible for TK, we do have that webinar posted on our website, and it will have enrollment. Now, TK enrollment does not start until January 8th. So you will not see the packet there, but you will be able to access the webinar to find out more information, just as you are for the kindergarten information as well. But kindergarten, the enrollment happens at the school site, whereas TK, the enrollment happens here at the district office. So I want to make sure to clarify that so you know exactly where to go to find that information that you're looking for.
If I can jump in for a quick second, the district website is Simi Valley USD for Unified School District.org. And if you go to the top of the page, usually on the right-hand side, depending on what kind of screen you're looking at, there should be a menu that you drop down, and there's a section called enrollment. And enrollment has your kindergarten programs where these presentations are posted, and it also has the school of choice information up there. So it's pretty easy to find once you're on the website.
And if you were to call the district office, you would get our front desk, and you can ask to be transferred to the elementary education desk for any questions that you might have related to this enrollment or elementary schools. Well, again, I thank you for joining us. Thank you to all of our panelists for being here this evening. Also, Ms. Camacho and Ms. Herrera, thank you for your help. We thank you for joining us. Again, the websites, the schools, our district office are all here to answer questions or provide you any resources or and support. So please feel free to reach out if you have questions after this. Thank you again for joining us this evening.